Hi, my name is Robin Luedtke, and I'm with Edina Realty Mortgage. I'm in the Twin Cities, and right now, if you're a buyer in the market, you know that there are more buyers than we have houses on the market, and that is very much the case throughout the country. It seems to be in the Twin Cities here, whether it's a 250 first-time home buyer condo or it's an $800,000 house. So any buyer who's making an offer on a home needs to do something to get their offer accepted. Obvious things would be offer the highest purchase price compared to everyone else. Of course, you don't know what they are offering, so you don't want to just go way too high, but offer something that would be competitive. Um, can waive the inspection on the home. That's a huge conversation for you to have with your realtor, but that is an option that buyers are doing. Earnest money, when the sellers accept an offer, the buyer pays earnest money to the seller, to the listing company, actually. And typically here in the Twin Cities, it's 1% of the purchase price. So maybe offer the sellers a larger than average earnest money check and then say it is non refundable, so that if the buyer walks away from the transaction for no good reason, the seller gets to keep that money. So, on a $500,000 house, instead of just saying a $5,000 earnest money check, I'll give you a $10,000 earnest money check, and it's non-refundable to me as a buyer if I walk away. And just for a note, that earnest money does go towards the buyer's total money needed at closing. It's just sort of a little down payment towards all their money they have to pay for. So those are some very common ideas. This flyer that you see here, has like 16 great ideas, but I do want to point out a few more that are not very common. Maybe you find out that your seller wants to push that closing date out 3 or 4 months because either they have a new construction home that's not going to be completed, or they still have to find a home. So you, as a buyer, you could offer, like, let's close when we want to close in 45 days, but Mr. Seller, you can stay in the house for up to 59 days after we close on the home. They'd be a renter. So it's rent, you're renting back the home to the seller, but it could be a free rent back for that seller, or maybe a small rent price. But let's just say the house typically would have $2,500 a month for rent, or the mortgage payment was $2,500 a month. If you say 59 days, so you're talking $5,000 that the seller would be able to take advantage of. And it's not built into the purchase price. It is just a free rent back to the seller. So that's one. And again, it depends on if the seller wants to close quickly or push the date out. Another one is sellers do have closing costs, not near as much as buyers have because they don't have all the lender charges. But for example, here in the Twin Cities, a $400,000 sales price home, the seller, might have a couple $1,000s worth of closing costs. So as a buyer, you could pay the seller's closing costs for them. Again, just a way to differentiate you from the other buyers making offers on the home. And the third one is, in addition to their closing costs, as a buyer, you can actually pay the seller's commissions that they have to pay out to realtors at closing. So, 10, 20,000, whatever, again, it depends on the purchase price of the home, but that way, that's just something extra that the seller would be saving money and walking away from closing with additional funds. If you just crank up the purchase price, your lender's appraisal is going to have to support that purchase price. But if you offer to pay the seller's commission, it's not going to have an impact on the sales price. So the appraisal doesn't have to be high enough to cover it. Hoping that makes sense. But definitely a way to set you aside from other buyers out there. It's a tough market. You have to be aggressive, think outside the box a little bit, and good luck. If you're making offers on homes and you haven't won one yet, you will eventually. And then you'll find that was the perfect home that you were supposed to get. Again, Robin Luedtke at Edina Realty Mortgage. And if you've got any questions, just reach out to me. Thanks so very much. Bye-bye.